And for the Dream Team leaders, I just want to appreciate you for all what you do to make the meetings go smoothly.
Good to go.
Don't take it. Okay.
Okay. Welcome, everyone.
Host started recording.
I want to use this opportunity to welcome everyone to this Dream Team webinar. For those who don't know, my name is Marie Pendy, and I am one of the leaders of this Dream Team. Let me use this opportunity to give a big hug to everyone who has made an effort to come here. And every week, Sundays, as you come here, we appreciate you. Let me use the opportunity to thank some of the leaders. If I don't call your name, it doesn't mean that I am purposefully skipping you. I'm looking at my screen and I see the beautiful Dr. Patience Ajongwen. Welcome. Let's welcome Dr. John Ajongwen. You're welcome. How about Vital Smart? You're welcome. You're just as smart as your name. Let me welcome you, and let's welcome Miss Kangla Gay. You're welcome to this webinar. How about Dr. Clark, Derek Clark, and Sister Aisha Ndanusa, all the way from Abuja, or is it Lagos? They are almost close. You're welcome. Let's welcome the beautiful Yvonne Finn and the smiley Dr. Benedict Ntinglet. Let's welcome Mr. Pius Ibele from Nigeria. You're welcome. Or maybe you are from the United Kingdom. You're welcome. How about Janet Banton? You're welcome. And the poised, beautiful Lily Lane. Let's give you a big hug. Let's welcome Mary Wilson. And how about Vinette Brunei? You're welcome. Let's welcome David Cooper and Judith Senior and Gwendolyn of Paisley. I will hand this over to Dr. Derek Clark with our team song. Thank you. Carry on, Dr. Clark.
For making us feel at home. Now we're going to the sector that we're going to play our signature tune. The difference is it is being added with our non-verbal communication. Please look at it. The updates are there. So
we're a nation, we are rising with one land. We are in it to win it. In it to win it.
And as we can see, there was some celebration. You see our partnership with Supercar Madlis. You see everything that the company is doing in that clip. Thank you, Dr. Derek, my brother, for always updating us with the beautiful, beautiful updates through image. And we thank our sister Lerato for the voice. And Dream Team, we take our mind serious. Because Mr. Ash Mufaras actually truly promised us a physical. Maybe without the right mindset, the physical can be nothing. A great person said that a rich person is the person that have the ability to make money, not the person that have money. Because you might have money, but you're not rich. So today, again, I'm going to bring one of our own in-house, blessed in the dream team that we have multiple talented people. And today, again, I'm going to introduce to you again my best friend, my backbone, the person that supports me for all what I do for Unpassive. It takes this, it takes the slack of what I'm not doing at home when I'm doing Unpassive. So he's going to share a word with us today. And he is Dr. John Ajongwen. You know him. I don't know whether I should be giving all the accolades here. I don't think that is important. I'm going to hand the floor to him to really help us work on our minds as we go towards this Advent season and waiting for our Unpassive baby to be running smoothly. Over to you, Dr. John Ajongwen.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, from wherever you are joining this wonderful webinar. Happy second Sunday of Advent to all of you. And I hope that you are actually having a blessed time wherever you are this afternoon. So I was thinking about our mindset, and I didn't really know what it is that I should really talk about. But I'm going to ramble through a couple of things. And one thing I'm going to do, maybe I'll pull up the whiteboard, what the heck, and scribble a couple of things along the way. But to start off with, image. However, each and every one of us is as unique as our fingerprint. So if you look at those of us who are here, and think about the diversity that this wonderful company Unpassive has put together. We have a diversity of race, a diversity of creed, color, age. We got that diversity in Unpassive, and it's impressive. However, when we are on a journey like this one in Unpassive, we have a common goal. And our common goal is to use this opportunity to improve ourselves and uplift humanity. And it's such a tremendous as well as an honored opportunity that we should take seriously. But because of our uniqueness, when we interact with each other, when things happen, different people react to those things in a different way. And it is possible that based on the lenses that each of us are using, we would interpret what that person is saying one way or the other. Some of you may have had the opportunity to have gone through things like the Briggs-Myers personality profiles, or actually probably have done like the Briggs-Myers type of personality test, which tells us our profiles and our preferences. You hear things like INTJ or whatever. when we encounter changes, there are two types of reactions. And I'm going to just talk about those and then hopefully connect it to what is going on in our unpassive journey. The first type of reaction is a positive reaction. And the other one is a negative reaction. Whichever reaction somebody displays initially does not necessarily mean that that individual is wrong, that person is right, that person is good, that person is bad, but it just is the natural way that the person's emotions react to that change. So let's look and is this thing going to work? I tested this and it didn't work. Are we sure this is going to be the thing that we're hoping is going to be a panacea to all our ills? Depending on your mindset, somebody who starts becoming so pessimistic emotionally could actually check out. And there are two ways that the person will check out, either in public or in private. And if somebody checks out in public, you can actually see that person starts to poison other people's minds. This And we are now in a situation where we are not only hoping, but we actually have an informed basis for making that decision. When we meet and we tell a few more people about unpassive, what we're going to have is that we're going to have, again, some of those people who are going to be very, very, very optimistic, and they're going to want to jump and they will be riding high. They experience the same level of uninformed optimism, informed pessimism. Some of them will check out, and hopefully at some point, a few years down the road, we will pick them up. There is the other initial reaction, which is a negative reaction. Again, I don't want that word to really mean that you are negative about what is going on, but it's just an emotion. And what happens in that situation is that somebody comes in and they're told about unpassive. Because of their history, they sort of just think, heard that before. Let me think about it. And for a short period of time, their thoughts, they just immobilize. Some of those people can actually recover. When they recover, they may start thinking about the good parts of this person. They may start thinking about the positive things that could happen in a journey like this. They may start thinking about some other, the silver lining that they found in things that they had actually had negative experiences in. And then what happens is that those people now start to get engaged, and some of them could become real superstars that they would be the flag bearers that we're chasing. So as we are journeying through Passive, my kings, queens, brothers, and sisters, and we're going out there to be sharing this vision to others, don't get disappointed when somebody reacts to it negatively initially. Because at some point when they have gone to that emotional low, listening to them, being empathetic, and actually encouraging them or showing them some of the benefits that you as an individual have received could actually build them to commitment. At the same time, do not see the person that hears it and is like, hooray, hooray, and think that they're on board, because those individuals could just be working off some uninformed optimism. And then when they start peeling the onion and realizing what's going on, those people would rapidly check out and they could actually bring the whole house crashing. So I want us to just be attentive to the different people that we're going to go out there, share the mission to them. But whatever they do, what we want to make sure is that we're out there to not only share the opportunity, but we're out there to share love to all of them. Love is the key thing that is going to actually move us forward. And it is what is going to make us understand our differences and work together. So if you are here today on this Sunday and you haven't had the opportunity for somebody to even express that love to you, just know that you are in a platform that loves you, that everyone here loves you. More importantly, that God loves you. And I want to end by saying personally that I love each and every one of you here. Thank you very much. And I'm out.
Wow. Anyway, if you can take your whiteboard. Thank you, whoever used that applause button, because really I don't even know how to summarize this. I'm just going to be shut up and say I have one or two of my great leaders here. And Sister Kanla, Sister Yvonne, Sister Dr. Benny, and Sister Marie. Do you have anything to add on that? The quick reaction. So I called it before I go to the next person.
It's just mind-blowing, that mindset talk. It's so well-rounded, and he brought it right back together to exactly where he wanted it to go. Thank you, Dr. John. That was amazing.
Thank you. See, I don't even know how to summarize it. So I need to back up. That's why I'm going. Go ahead.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Patience. Wow. Dr. John. Wow. This is one of those that you lack words to vividly explain or summarize it, and you're left with, you just wowed us. Excellent, excellent nuggets you've given us. Simple, relatable with how we live our life. And
I love that part that you said. At first, we had this phenomenon, we had this thought, our imagination. And as things developed, stage by stage, progressively, we are now at a point where we have a product that we are practicing, we're using, as opposed to 3-4 years ago when we were using our imagination. Just imagine what it would be like. Even though we're still applying our sense of imagination, we have physical product that we are using as we continue to explore our imagination, what this will be like. So I like that part. It was so well put, precisely, and very intelligently.
Queen Lily, let me bring you in so you can. Yes, our Queen Lily is here. Queen Lily, go ahead. Queen Lily, go ahead.
Both of those reactions. When I first was introduced to Passive, I came in with a very negative reaction that I'm going to do what I had done in the past, and that's get involved with another company that was going to take those $97, which was nothing. But as I began to listen and pay attention, then my negative reaction moved to a positive reaction. And since that time, I have been positive with all of my involvement with Passive. And I just want to say that I thank him, because one time I was wondering, how did I change? And it never dawned on me that change, there are two reactions to any change.
And happy Sunday to you. And happy Sunday to my queens and kings around the globe. I want to thank our God for bringing Dr. John here. Dr. John Ajangwe. I would say, astonishing, inspirational speech. You have done it. I am speechless. But I want to thank you so much for the love that you have within our company and our products or solution. Thank you again. We all love you, Dr. John.
Next topic, we'll have time for people to react. If you didn't have the opportunity to react now on the presentation, we will have ample time section of our day today, which is we have our brother, which will be introduced by our own king brother Vital here, coming from the Socom harvest. Well, I'm not going to introduce brother Vital completely, but he will be presenting in his own right in February, and he will have all the accolades. But brother Vital is one of our unpassive brother that is very passionate on blessing people. He's really on the old blessed wavelength, and his main goal is to really eradicate hunger. Okay, so he is passionate about that. So I'm going to call Brother Vital to come and introduce our guest speaker for today. Brother Vital, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Patience. Good afternoon, everybody. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. This is Vital Smart, and I'm your friend. And I have a very special guest.
Peace, blessings, enough love.
That I'm going to be introducing to you all today. He is from the Second Harvest Food
I'm
Bank
there, man.
right here in Old Town, Orlando, Florida. And so I'm going to share my screen and introduce him, and then he's going to come up and do his thing afterwards. So,
Okay.
let me go ahead and share my screen right now.
I'm there, though. Vital talking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, cool.
Okay, you see me? Okay, very nice. Well, first of all, Christmas is a time for giving. And this is a time of the year when we lift up humanity. This is the time when we spread love and donate a little extra cash to our favorite charities. This is a time when we take care of the less fortunate amongst us by feeding the hunger and make the world a better place. Look at this building. This is the pillar of support for curing hunger and starvation in the Central Florida community. Take a very good look at this iconic building. And as a resident of Central Florida, I witnessed the construction of this building from scratch about 10 years ago, but have never visited it until this year, 2023. Even though I was always aware of the magnificent job that the organization does in feeding the hunger in the Central Florida communities. How did I visit them? I simply drove up in my car one day, walked through the front entrance, picked up some brochures and asked to speak to someone who could provide me with information I was seeking for my research project I was working on. And without any hesitation, informal appointment, I was introduced to a very personable gentleman whom you will be meeting in a short while. He greeted me very politely. We chatted for a while, and then he invited me into his very spacious conference room. We chatted again for roughly 15 minutes about unpassive and noblesse. And he then invited me into the warehouse. He gave me a permission to record this short video. Take a look. Yes, indeed. That was what he gave me permission, without even knowing exactly who I was. And this is another picture of the Second Harvest Food Bank. You see all the staff and volunteer workers. The mission is to create hope and nourish lives through a powerful hunger relief network, while multiplying the generosity of a caring community. And what about the vision? Inspiring and engaging our community to end hunger and help our neighbors thrive. And so that's another look at this humongous warehouse, designed specifically to fight the dilemma of hunger and starvation in Central Florida communities. It is engulfed by an army of staff and volunteers to get the job done by feeding well over 58 million meals to the communities it serves annually. For those of us who are blessed, we are looking for solutions. And this is what we must emulate to get the job done in an impactful manner. Would you like to get a little more in-depth knowledge of what Second Harvest is all about? Take a look and learn some more. Okay.
Did you ever have air pudding? That's when you put your hand up here and this is your spoon. Boy, you got belly full. You got air pudding tonight. It's a way of saying, no, thank you, I don't want it. Kids say, are you going to eat? Well, I had air pudding. I'm not going to tell them anything else.
I know there's a lot of food banks and things like that. I can't get there. I have trouble getting on and off the bus. I don't have transportation. Without this, I wouldn't be surviving. And I can't, I've been homeless before. So I don't care what I have to pay to live here. I'll starve first. So you guys are making sure that I don't. You're saving me from being on the streets. I appreciate that.
The situation está very, very hard. And somebody told me about the Pastor Fonseca, he giving food, and we go there. We go at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning to make line to get food. And like that, we have something to eat. Every time I need food, he said, come to the center and give me the food. And I'm very blessed.
Huh?
Very blessed.
To know that we live in America and our kids are going hungry is unacceptable. If Second Harvest was to disappear, Serenity's Grace would close. This community would suffer immensely.
It feels good to know that there's people out here that want to help people that they need. They're all really good people here. They make you feel welcome. They don't make you feel like you're needy.
Midway community, many of the parents, they're very hardworking. They have multiple jobs. Our outlet, the Midway Safe Harbor, provides a place for the parents to bring their children so that they can go and work and afford a decent living so that they can provide shelter and they can provide food. But sometimes they come up short. So the Midway Safe Harbor, with the assistance of Second Harvest, was able to feed those students. At the end of the day, if you're not eating, you're not learning. If you're not eating, you're not working. If you're not eating, you're not moving.
My presentation already, and hopefully by the time it's ready, the plans.
Second Harvest Food Bank is a nonprofit organization that supports a very large network of other nonprofit hunger relief agencies. It distributes food to our friends and neighbors in Central Florida who simply aren't sure where their next meal is coming from.
The reality is it could happen to any one of us. It could be anybody. It could be the person pulling up next to you in a red light. It could be the person standing behind you in the grocery store. It could be the person sitting next to you in the church pew. Over 60% of Americans have less than $400 in their savings account. That's one crisis, one car accident, one emergency medical hospital stay away from being bankrupt, basically. And it could happen to anyone of us.
Specific.
Well, Second Harvest is our biggest contributor of food to our center. Second Harvest is our, basically the pen that holds all this together.
When you give $1 to Second Harvest Food Bank, we're able to turn that dollar into so much more. Fresh fruits and vegetables, protein items, meats, things like that, in addition to shelf-stable foods. All of the things that people need to have a healthy, nutritious diet.
A large or significant percentage of the food that we distribute to our friends and neighbors is actually healthy food. We try and supplement that with nutrition education. So we teach our friends and neighbors how to prepare that food that we give to them as well.
Culinary training program is a program that we have at Second Harvest Food Bank, where we teach students to become cooks. We give them a hand that is transformational. We not only feed the line, we shorten the line.
The way that they taught us and the commitment that they showed, it meant a lot to me. And it's what really got me focused and saying I could take this serious. It was hard, of course, initially, but the experience was great. Like I felt like I found home. This program literally fed my home. I mean, it still has me.
You know what? I've never seen you come sold out. No matter what denomination or what you are, what color you are, what state you're in.
Here you go. Amen, church.
Great.
Hunger is a solvable problem with resources that already exist. One person can make a difference in this mission because food banking, for all of its millions of meals that we put out every year, at the end of the day is a one meal at a time. That's what it's about.
Thank you for saving me with my daughter. Tell me things. I know people don't always understand how hard it is, but it can really destroy a person. So it means a lot. It means a lot to a single mom or any family in a struggle. It means more than you know.
Okay. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are very honored to have in our midst a very distinguished, personable gentleman that I was fortunate to meet at Second Harvest Food Bank a few months ago. Yes, indeed. He's here with us, and he's the person that you are looking at on the screen right now. His name is Mr. Daniel. We call him Dan Samuels. And he's the Director of Philanthropy for the Second Harvest Food Bank, which is located a few miles away from our Unpassive office right here in Orlando. Today, Dan is here to educate us about Food Bank, but specifically about Second Harvest and how it impacts the community that it serves. Before he speaks, though, let me tell you a little about this gentleman. For the past 5 years, Dan Samuels has served as the Director of Philanthropy for Second Harvest Food Bank of Central Florida. In his role, Dan has the opportunity to engage directly with individual and corporate donors and represents his organization through media and speaking engagements. For the 10 years before joining Second Harvest team, Dan worked as a fundraising professional at two well-respected organizations in Central Florida, Uvarex of Central Florida and Hillel. Outside of his professional role, Dan also served on a board of directors as a past president of the Association of Fundraising Professionals, Central Florida chapter. He has also been an instructor at Edith Bush Institute for Philanthropy and Nonprofit Leadership at the prestigious Rollins College, Winter Park, Florida. When not at work, Dan enjoys spending his time with family and friends. And he and his wife Ashley are animal lovers, have 2 dogs, 2 cats. Dan considers himself a pretty handy man and enjoys spending time working on his home. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and join me in extending a tremendous and passive Dream Team blessed welcome to the one and only Mr. Daniel Harris. Dan, the floor is yours, my brother. Take it away.
Well, thank you so much, Vital, and everyone for having me today. I'm excited to join you from beautiful Winter Springs, Florida at this point. And as Vital said, I am certainly an animal lover. So if you hear a few barking dogs in the background today, please forgive them. They do like to make sure we know that they are around and in the house. So they let us know with their voices throughout the day. Thank you for inviting me into your family on this Sunday and the opportunity to share with you a little bit about Second Harvest and food banking and the difference you all have and can continue to make when it comes to the fight against hunger here in Central Florida. So let's start really, really big picture, and then we're going to kind of narrow down. Big picture, hunger is a problem in all 50 states in the United States and in most counties throughout the entire United States. You know, when we think of hunger, oftentimes, especially in the US, we think of homeless individuals. And the reality is that's certainly the case in some cases, but it's not the majority of folks who are facing hunger. The majority of individuals who are facing hunger, the majority of people who need help are actually working class families. They're folks that are trying to make ends meet. They're working 1, 2, sometimes 3 jobs, and sometimes it's just not enough. Sometimes the kid gets sick, and so they can't go to work and make their wage for the day. Sometimes the kid gets sick and there's a medical bill or a prescription they have to fill. Sometimes the car breaks down or needs new tires, and we all know those expenses aren't cheap. And sometimes we have massive inflation in the United States like we've seen in the last couple of years, or a natural disaster, or a global pandemic. All of these things are what cause people to not be able to make ends meet. And at the end of the day, hunger is really a symptom of a greater problem. Hunger is a symptom of the fact that there are so many individuals who are right on that edge of being okay versus not being okay, and then something in life happens. Maybe it's affordable housing. Maybe it's all those situations we talked about before, but it pushes you over that edge to now needing help. And the first thing you cut back on is food. Because you have to pay the rent. You have to pay the cell phone bill to be able to communicate. You need to put gas in the car and have a working car to be able to get to work. You need childcare for your kids. There are so many things that you cannot change. But the one thing you can change is food. You can cut back on what you're eating. Change the types of food that you're eating. You know, maybe we don't have a protein. Maybe we focus more on pastas and sauce or peanut butter and jelly. Maybe we skip a meal so our kids can eat. There are so many people impacted by this challenge across the United States. A place that we call a place of community and a country of so much freedom, and yet there are so many individuals in our own backyard who are hungry. And we all know, especially everybody in this room, know that this is a global issue. But today I'm here to talk to you about the national issue. Honestly, because that's the statistics and the information I am most informed on. That's the area of which I'm an expert. Across the United States, there's an organization called Feeding America. It's a a national organization of 199 food banks. 199 food banks, just like Second Harvest Food Bank, that are out there feeding the community. Every county in the United States is covered by a food bank that is helping to feed those who are facing hunger. So I'm going to talk to you today about Second Harvest Food Bank of Central Florida in Orlando that covers 7 counties in Florida. But I want you to think of this as an example of what's happening in your own backyard if you're within the United States as well, because there are food banks in your backyard as well, and I am speaking about the one that I work for specifically in Orlando. So we talked about the reasons people might be hungry, but let's really talk about in Central Florida what that need looks like. It's actually 1 in 8 individuals right in Central Florida that's at risk of going to bed hungry. And that statistic's actually worse for kids. It's 1 in every 5 kids. Folks, that's over 500,000 people in Central Florida alone that may not know where their next meal will come from. That's just unacceptable. A place, a community that everybody thinks of for Disney Magic, and Minions at Universal, and all of the shows at the SeaWorld, a place that people come to vacation, the wonderful beaches that they go to, the races they go to in Daytona Beach, an area where people go to retire. There are still 1 in 8 individuals facing hunger. And a lot of those folks are the folks that make sure that those magical vacations are magical, are wonderful for the kids and the families that come. But they're just not making enough to make ends meet. And that's exactly why we're here. The Second Harvest Food Bank, we're basically a food collection organization. You saw that massive warehouse in the video that Patel took. We have a 105,000 square foot warehouse as our main warehouse, and we have 4 other warehouses across Central Florida. And our goal is to collect food that might otherwise go to waste. And then we distribute that food out to our neighbors who are experiencing hunger. So let's talk a little bit about that process. We get food from many, many, many different outlets. We get food from national providers who maybe are trying to clear the shelves. Maybe they just want to make a donation for tax purposes or because they know it's the right thing to do. They'll send us food. We get a lot of food from farmers, some of which we pay for at a very reduced rate, basically the cost for them to get it out of the field and get it to us, and some of which is completely free and donated. We're getting food from grocery stores. Almost every place in Central Florida that sells food is giving it to us. But when I say we get it from grocery stores, we're not going to the grocery store and clearing the shelves. The grocery store is donating food that they can no longer sell. I'll give you an example or two. The case of water that has broken open the plastic, but all the water bottles inside are intact. Or maybe there's one that fell out and is missing now. All the water is still good. They just can't sell it anymore. Or meat, when it hits the sell-by date, they can't sell it anymore. But we all know if you freeze meat, it stays good for a much longer period of time, sometimes months. So grocery stores will sell the meat that they can't, freeze the meat that they can't sell because it hit that sell-by date. They'll give it to Second Harvest in a frozen state, and we'll give it out to the community in that frozen state. So just like you and I can open our freezer at home and have meat to eat, so can an individual who's experiencing hunger. Food drives, another big way that we're getting food in the door. Individuals in the community, the letters carriers, the Boy Scouts, collecting food and donating it to the food bank. And there are many more ways that food is coming into this food bank. Our volunteers in that massive warehouse that you saw, I think Vittel saw it either in an evening after volunteers were gone or maybe on a Monday when we don't have volunteers. That's the quietest I've ever seen that warehouse. Our volunteers are in there 5 days a week, sorting through all that donated product, packaging it in a way that can easily serve a family, and then getting it ready to go out. Food in our warehouse, while it looked very full, is there for less than 15 days. It's really just about a flow through our warehouse to get it out the door. Now, when I say we're distributing it to 7 counties, but we only have 5 warehouses, and we know Central Florida is a massive community, we're not distributing it ourselves. It just wouldn't be feasible. So what Second Harvest does, we partner with a network of 625 other nonprofit organizations. These are soup kitchens. These are food pantries. The Coalition for the Homeless or Catholic Charities. These are organizations that are boots on the ground in every corner of our community that can help get this food out to our neighbors who are experiencing hunger. So we get the food to them, they get the food out to the community. Now, Vital was talking about millions of meals, but let me drill it down to a smaller number that's easier to swallow. Every single day, we're distributing over 300,000 meals out to our neighbors experiencing hunger. What hurts me to think about, though, that is double what it was before the pandemic. That's how much the pandemic and inflation and all of these other factors have impacted families across our community. And we don't do that alone. We do that with the community, hand in hand, together. You know, Vital and I have sat down together a number of times and had conversations about how we can really solve hunger in our community. And Second Harvest can't do that alone. We're really just the conduit that connects the community members who need food to those who want to make a difference. So at the end of the day, people don't come to us because they need food forever. People come to us because something's going on in their life and they need food for a short period of time. You saw a number of stories on that video that we shared in my intro. And I want to share one more story with you. Because at the end of the day, food banking is not about food. It's actually about people. I want to tell you about Stephanie and Jeremy Carter. These amazing individuals moved from the Carolinas. They have 2 young kids. And they moved down to Claremont, Florida, which is just a little northwest of Orlando. And they moved here because they wanted to be closer to family. And one of their kids was dealing with some challenges, and they felt like they needed a fresh start and that family support to go through that. Well, they moved down, they bought a home, they thought everything was going to be great. Stephanie took a leave of absence from work to take care of her family, and Jeremy got a job in the community, working in actually another warehouse, looking at safety for citrus. Florida, big citrus community. Well, unfortunately, they bought a house that had a lot of problems that they weren't expecting. On top of the roof that they knew about, they didn't know about the water leaks in the walls, the mold that was causing, and the expensive cost to not only repair it, but to rebuild the home from all the damage that was caused from that water. If you've ever had a water leak, you know it is a pain to locate, it is a pain to fix, and it can cause significant damage to your home. I am somebody who's gone through it. It is not fun. And they were doing great, except for the fact that they didn't have enough saved to be able to handle all of that. So they had to make a hard decision. What do we do? Do we live with this mold? Do we live with the water leaking? Do we live with the roof that's leaking? What do we do and how do we do it? So they made the decision, the hard decision, to go ask for help. And I say it's a hard decision because for so many families, it's hard to admit that you can't do it on your own. But the reality is it's exactly why we're here. And it's exactly why all 625 of our partners are in this with us. Because we never want somebody to go hungry. So they went to one of our feeding partners, Neighborhood Center, out in Lake County. They got the food that they needed for a short period of time until they got back on their feet. Since then, Jeremy's gotten a new job that's closer to home and allows him to be home more with his family. Stephanie is working as well. She is now working as a temp for an organization here in Central Florida. Their kids are doing well, and most importantly, they no longer need that help with food. And that's exactly what our goal is. They actually now volunteer their time with the organizations that have helped them, and even at times will financially support those organizations. Nobody wants to be in this situation. But when they are, they're looking for us to help. They're looking for you to help. And that's exactly why we're here. So I shared with you a little bit, and we could spend probably another hour talking about Second Harvest. I'm not going to do that to you today. I know you have a lot of business to cover. But what I do want to talk about to wrap things up is what you can do to make a difference, how you can get involved. So first off, I'm talking about Central Florida, and if you're in Central Florida, please come out and visit us. Please come out and volunteer. Come be a part of this with us. But if you're not in Central Florida, if you're in the United States, there are food banks across the country that could use your help. Find the closest food bank to you, and I encourage you to get involved. And there's lots of ways to get involved. Most food banks need volunteers. We rely heavily on them at Second Harvest. We have 75 volunteers a shift, twice a day, 2 shifts a day, 5 days a week. And we can't get that food out to the community without those volunteers. Donate. In Second Harvest Food Bank of Central Florida, for every $10 donated, we can provide 40 meals out to the community. Basically 25 cents a meal. And the reason we're able to do that is because of the powerful network of food providers that we have. More often than not, the food is free or very, very low cost. We just have to get it. I have to send my 20 trucks or 25 trucks out on the road to get the food, but the food is free. So it's the cost of a driver and fuel and truck maintenance. And we get hundreds, if not thousands of pounds of food. The produce, literally just have to go get it. And it's free. That's what food banks are able to do. It's why we encourage people to get involved, because the buying power that we have allows us to get so much more food out to the community than you could if you went to your supermarket and tried to purchase food. I like to think of it this way. If I gave you $1, you might be able to go buy a Snickers bar at the grocery store. If you give me $1, I can provide a whole chicken dinner with all the fixings for a family. And one of my favorite ways you can get involved is advocate. Just like Vittel has been doing, I know his lovely sister will be doing, tell people about what you've seen. Tell people about what you're learning today. Inspire somebody else to want to get involved. The only way that we can solve hunger is to come together as a community to do it. It's too big of a problem to do on our own. But I have faith that there are so many of us in the community that want to make a difference, that want to fight hunger and hopefully eventually solve hunger, that we can come together and do something. I want to thank you all for the time today, for listening, for being open to being a part of this. And Vittel, if we have time, I am more than glad to answer any questions that anybody might have.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you very much, Dan. This was awesome. Awesome. I know that today is your day off, so I appreciate you very much for taking time from your family to be with us. You are the consummate professional that exhibits love, passion, and care for the job you do in support of the Central Florida communities. Thank you for enlightening us and educating us about the Second Harvest Food Bank and the magnificent job it is doing on a daily basis to care for the needs of those in our local communities that are most vulnerable to hunger and starvation. Thank you, sir, for providing us with the blueprint that we are in the global ambassadors of Unpassive and Obless can utilize to impact the world in our quest to eradicate global hunger and starvation. My sister Vinette and I also thank you very much for your hospitality and quality time that you spent with us on our recent visit to your Second Harvest. And what an educational and fun time it was for us to get to know you and to tour your facility. And please be assured, sir, that as Obless evolves into a global entity, you can look for us for future support as we reciprocally look to you for your professional guidance as we move forward with our plans to uplift humanity on a global scale. Thank you, Dan. Thank you very much. And back to you, Dr. Patience.
Wow. Well, Brother Vita and Brother Dan. Thank you, guys. Brother Dan, you said something that a lot of people, including me, might not get it, right? We think food bank just means to give food for people. But what I've gathered today, it gives hope to people. We show love to people, which is very powerful. And you said it. A lot of people they're suffering in silence because they feel ashamed that they've let their family down. And it is up to us as we go out there with the mandate to live humanity, to make sure we give with dignity, so the people can receive with dignity. When you are giving, don't make the people feel less of humans. And thank you, Brother Dan, for doing that through Second Harvest and saving the Florida community. Us, 84 of us today, we've seen how we can touch life through a little thing like just providing food for somebody. And it doesn't have to cost much or take you much. Join an organization next to you, or start a little one. You have a loaf of bread, share it with your neighbor that doesn't have. At least everybody will go with their stomach half full than one person going with their stomach empty. Thank you. We'll just wrap up so we can come to question and discussion and have enough time not to stop. So let's quickly just do our update. Then we can go out live from YouTube and have a heart-to-heart discussion with our brother Dan today. Thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule that you have for your family to come and spend with us. Let's quickly do the update so we can really have a heart-to-heart discussion with you. So with that, not wasting too much of the time, I want to call on our update team. And
Patience.
yes, go ahead, Vital.
I don't know if Dan is going to be able to hang around. Could he take the questions now?
Yeah, we just want to, the update, I don't think is going to be long because we want to wrap up on YouTube. Okay, let me ask King Brother Derek, is the update and YouTube comparable today or Dr. Derek? If you can just let us know so we can get people ask Dan some questions.
Sure.
Dr. D's internet has been playing up. Dr. Derek, if you can hear us.
Hello?
Please let me know.
Hello? Are you hearing me?
All right, Dr. Derek is traveling. His internet is playing up. So anyway, let's take a couple of questions for Dan before we pass over to the update team since he has limited time with us. And I'll pass it over to our updates, our question and answers discussion team. I'll call on Queen Benny, Queen Kanla, Queen Yvonne. If people can take over. Queen Kanla, Queen Yvonne, Queen Dr. Smiley. I think Sharisha is having internet issues.
Going to work hand in hand to help when the time arises.
All right, hearing me now?
So then we can hear you now. So we're just wondering how long is the update and can you go on YouTube because Dan has a limited time with us?
As you know, there was no update this week of such.
Okay. So we can do that, anything they want to discuss generally on the company after we take the Q&A. So maybe we'll just close the YouTube.
So do the Q&A and we'll give a little reminder. There was just maybe two things that was released in the ecosystem.
All right. So what we'll do at this time, we're going to close our YouTube as I said, so we can have a heart-to-heart discussion, a fire type of discussion with our brother Dan before he leaves. So I want to thank all of us, all of our viewers on YouTube, the people that are live with us now, and the people that will watch us in the future. Thanks for coming and joining us. I want to thank our presenters today, Brother Vital and Brother Dan, for that wonderful presentation on food bank, especially what Second is doing. And not to forget the mindset, the negative or positive mindset. Thank you, Dr. John Ajongwen, for that wonderful, wonderful mindset. And I don't know whether Dr. Derry had anything to add on that mindset before we get out of YouTube. If not, we are going to end our YouTube. Dr. Derry, did you have anything to add?
Awesome mindset, of course. I was surprisingly taken away that Dr. John, it seems as if a lot of people is kind of hiding in the background when it comes down to giving this kind of a presentation. So thank you very much, Dr. John. Really appreciate that mindset, of course. That was awesome. That was really awesome. And of course, Sir Dan, Daniel, thank you very much for sharing with us this whole aspect of the food bank that you are involved in just up the road there from me, and well, from where I should be, but not really in Florida right now. But thank you very much, Sir Dan. That was an awesome presentation in respective to where the food banks are concerned, our food bank, especially Second Harvest. I did not know that it was such a low cost to actually feed a person when you go through the food bank, and it's awesome to know that, really and truly. I'm not sure how far you spread your wings, because I am down in Winter Haven, that is